Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, my guests are Amanda Jolson and Alicia Silver from the Bridges by EPOCH at Nashua. The discussion is going to center around dementia and a lot of different factors that you may not have known about that go into it. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. So, is EPOCH, is it more of a senior living center, or do you deal only with dementia patients?
Well, EPOCH as a company has a number of different products in its portfolio. We do memory care specific standalone assisted livings for folks just with memory impairment, and we also have independent livings and assisted livings, mostly in Massachusetts. So we have a couple of different products, but memory care assisted living is really the center of a lot of what EPOCH does as a company.
So can you tell, what is memory center? Are they, do they have just dementia? Is there other diseases that cause memory loss?
You know, that's a great question. You have to have a memory impairment to live in our Bridges community. There are 100 different types of dementia on the table in this country right now. Wow. So, and we don't discriminate. So some of our residents might have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Other folks that live with us might have a diagnosis of Lewy bodies dementia or vascular dementia. It varies.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, what if they're an older couple, like The Notebook, you know, that really brought a lot of attention to this? You know, what do you do in those situations?
So we're happy to have couples live in our community. We actually, in our community in Nashua, do have a couple. The wife has dementia and the husband doesn't. But they've been married for over 60 years. So for them to be apart is more stressful than having her there and to have him live somewhere else. As long as it works for the individual who doesn't have dementia and it's healthy for them, they're able to still go out and socialize outside of the community, then we will make that work. And sometimes we have couples, they both have dementia, so they can come in together and share a space and still be together.
What are some of the things that lead people to, you know, a lot of people take care of people at home, and it can be stressful after a while, but what leads people to go into a center? At what point is it too much?
You know what? I think for a lot of families, as soon as their memory impaired loved one's safety is compromised, they begin to look around at other resources. And we know that everything starts at home. And we understand that. And we know how stressful it can be for that caregiver. When we meet a memory impaired person, because it's our niche, we know that we have to embrace that entire family because everybody is affected by memory impairment.
What about visiting hours? Are they?
Our families can come and visit anytime. It's not at all like a skilled nursing center or a hospital where there's specific visiting hours. If someone wants to come in at midnight and visit their loved one, that's just fine with us. So, you know, we're open 24/7, you know, 360 days a month. So it's really not a problem. We encourage the families to come and visit at any time.
Wow, that must be great.
I think that makes a difference to people. I think it does, and I think that we recognize that it may not be easy for the families. It's a difficult transition to have your memory impaired spouse or parent move into memory care assisted living. You know, so when we embrace the family, one of the things that we say is when you come, you can eat and engage with your loved one. You can come whenever you want. We need to make it as easy for them as we can.
Just a little bit more, you know, to follow up on what Alicia is saying, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is when we bring someone into our community, they become a part of our family, and we really want them to feel that way. But their family, their extended family, becomes a part of our family too. So we really want them to be a part of the experience and be on that journey with their loved one, and we want to embrace them, in the same way we do our residents who come through the door.
What are some of the programs that you offer for memory impairment?
I'm going to take that one. We focus on the moment because we understand with memory impairment you need to, because it's really all that we have is the moment we're in. And we want folks to understand that after diagnosis, there's still life. We're taking a group of fellas to a Celtics game tonight in Boston because that's life. That's normal. To go see the Beach Boys in concert is normal. So we enhance the life. So whatever the life is, whatever the person's passionate about, we just add to it.
Oh, that's good.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. How does the disease progress with dementia? Is it a gradual thing where they go back and they remember stuff that's happening 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or is it sporadic and jump around? Or is it, like the curious case of Benjamin Button? Does it go one way or the other?
I think that memory impairment, the road that families travel is different, family to family. Mm-hmm. It's, Alzheimer's is a progressive degenerative disease. So yes, people decline. Everyone lives this at their own pace. I wish I could map it out for families and explain to them that this is how long it's going to take and this is exactly what it's going to look like, and we can't, because we're talking about an individual, a person. So we can't project, but there's a natural decline, and for us it really depends on which dementia they're diagnosed with, and then we can almost picture how it may go for folks, but slow and steady, I see.
Are the new drugs helping?
They help with symptom management.
What other symptoms do they have?
I think a lot of people live with ongoing frustration and restlessness living with memory impairment. I think a lot of folks are confused to date, time, and place. Mm-hmm. I think that that's very common. I think that we have a number of memory impaired people that don't know they're impaired, mm-hmm. and we have a lot of people that we serve that do know they're impaired. So we embrace the symptoms, and we work our way around them because we need to be successful at that. So I think we expect them at times, we don't even get them.
I think sometimes what we see as a sort of common theme, a lot of our folks will have some depression because they still have some acknowledgement and recognition that things aren't quite the way they used to be,
right?
And some anxiety about that. So, Alicia's right. We can't stop the progression of the disease. We can't reverse it. We can't fix it. But what we can do is try to manage those symptoms that cause them other kinds of challenges day to day, so that they're able to live with a little bit more peace than they would otherwise.
So how do you prepare families for expecting the unexpected?
Well, it's a game of reassurance.
Absolutely.
It's a game of reassurance, and it's not a game. It's reassuring them that they're not alone. I think that's what people need to feel. It's going to be bumpy. It's inevitable. And if it's not bumpy now, let's enjoy every moment. Mm-hmm. But when it gets bumpy, we're going to be together, and we're not going to let go of you. Mm-hmm. This is one of the harder things I've ever had to watch a family live. I feel like this is the longest goodbye ever, because you lose a piece of this memory impaired person, mm-hmm. little pieces all along the way. And so families are grieving all along the way because they're losing pieces of their loved one. So
How young is this starting?
It varies. The first case, was she in her 50s? Mm-hmm. The first case of Alzheimer's, when we first started to discover, not us, but discover Alzheimer's disease was in someone who was younger than what is typically, we're hearing Alzheimer's used more globally as a term. But we have folks that come into us in their mid-50s all the way up to in their 90s to hundreds. Dementia doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate on age, education, intellectual ability. It just doesn't. So we see it affect a lot of folks.
Tell me about the education programs you offer in Nashua to help the community understand this better.
Well, I'll love to speak to that because that is my passion. My passion is to help the person that may never be able to live inside of one of our communities. So any market that we choose to put a community in, we offer education and support to everyone in the market. So they don't have to have a memory impaired loved one living at Bridges by Epic at Nashua to benefit from knowing us or to utilize us as a resource. So we offer educational programs twice a month at 2 different times to accommodate people. And the topics are varied. You know, it's interesting. We started out with a library of what we thought were the 25 most important topics. And we're at better than 80 in topics and choices for people because we've learned over the years that they need more and they want it. 25 years ago, we couldn't beg people to attend an educational program on Alzheimer's, and now we can't get enough chairs into a room.
Wow.
So it's a wonderful offering, and it's free, and they're available to folks in the community. And if ever the reason that you couldn't attend is because of your memory-impaired loved one, Amanda opens her doors and says, you can bring your memory-impaired loved one with you, and they can go and enjoy a program and a meal with the other residents that live in our community, and you can come to the educational program and get what you need. And then everyone leaves having eaten, had a good time, and empowered, we hope.
I think, you know, certainly the idea is to be, it's important to us that we're a part of the fabric of the greater Nashua community. Yes, you know, we have a goal and a mission to serve those with memory impairment and their families, but we're a resource to this area on all things dementia related, whether we're trying to reach out to the fire department or the police department, the schools, whoever needs that information. And we, you know, are trying to position ourselves as the experts in dementia care so we can spread that word. Again, it doesn't matter if they ever step foot in the building, bring a loved one there, but come and get our education and learn so you can cope better and help family and friends that, you know, are at a distance that may need some support and education, and that's what we're trying to do.
Wow. And both of you have been in it for a long time. So Amanda, you first. Tell us about your job. What exactly are you responsible for?
Oh my. Well, so I'm the executive director and I'm responsible for the operational oversight of the building, from whether or not the snowplow has come to whether or not we have the right food and, you know, managing families, and I'm everywhere all the time. There isn't anything I wouldn't do in that building that I wouldn't expect my staff to do, from providing care if necessary, serving meals, doing programming. So that's, you know, I'm sort of the keeper of the flame, so to speak.
And how long have you been there?
I've worked for EPIC. I'm going into my 5th year. We opened the doors of EPIC, Bridges by EPIC in Nashua, August 22nd of 2016. I came up to start at the Welcome Center in April. I was working in one of our other communities in Weston, Mass prior to that. So I've worked for the company for a few years and been very excited to be a part of this project.
That's great. How many people work for you now?
Oh gosh, I think we have about 30 total between my department head team and the nurses' aides and the nursing staff and dietary. So we're at about 30.
Wow. And do you also take these people to doctor's appointments and things like that, or do they have doctors that come in?
We can, but we do, because we have a van and we can help families get transportation to an appointment, but we have physicians on site. So we have a medical director. We also have, he's our covering physician for most of our residents. We have audiology, optometry, dentist, podiatry all come to our building. So taking someone out, which can be a challenge, they get really used to the routine, and having to leave a building and go into a doctor's office can really be hard for our residents. So we try to make it as simple as possible and bring physicians in.
That's great. And Alicia, how about you? What is your job like?
My job is, I have the best job ever known to man. However, I have worked for Epic Senior Living since 2011. I opened their first memory care assisted living standalone product in Massachusetts in 2012. I enjoyed that. It was a great project. And I have served memory impaired people for better than 25 years, and my best experience comes from them. As far as EPIC and Bridges by EPIC, I'm responsible for education and training. So not strange to come into Nashua and see me training a group of Amanda's employees. Not strange to come into Amanda's community and see me there hosting an educational presentation. Not strange to go into the Nashua community and see me with a memory impaired resident that's living with some symptoms that needs a little help. So it's a gift. It's a gift for me.
That's great, because it sounds like a really hard job. So going forward, somebody who is just suspecting that their loved one is not remembering things, what would you suggest to them for early stages or early signs of dementia?
Well, I think that folks, there's a
What
difference.
doctor do you go to? Do you go to your primary care? Do you go to, what type of specialist handles this?
Well, you can start with your primary care, and I'd say, generally internal medicine folks, have an idea of, to mention those symptoms. I mean, there's some simple tests that can be given to determine, the rate or, the level of cognitive loss. I think that there's a difference. People will come and say, I think I've got dementia because I can't remember, I keep forgetting my keys and, all of that kind of thing. Well, for us, we all forget our keys. We all, and we go walk into a room and say, gee, what am I doing in this room? Why did I come up into my bedroom again? And you stand there for a minute and you think, this is it, I've got it, it's
right.
I've got
I think that's
it.
scary.
But, there's a difference between doing that and then remembering why you actually went into the room and you find your keys, you actually know what they're for. But when you pick up those keys and you're looking at them, you don't know what they do or what they're for, that's a little bit more, that's different. So we all have a lot going on in our lives and a lot going on in our heads that can make us seem like we have a little bit of memory impairment, but that's just life.
Right.
There is a difference. And so I think families need to understand that, but they can avail themselves of all of the education. You can go onto the Alzheimer's Association website and learn when maybe I should be talking to the doctor about that kind of thing. What do you think, Alicia?
That was well answered. I think that it's a concern for people at home. Mm-hmm. Is this something that I'm going to have? Is this something I'm going to have to live with?
Mm-hmm. Right, and especially being able to negotiate everything that's going on with the whole medical field to begin with. Mm-hmm. It's crazy right now. Yes. Do we have coverage? Don't we have coverage? What do you mean we only have coverage for 90 days? Mm-hmm. I mean, what do they do in those situations?
Well, I think that, certainly going to see your primary care or a geropsychiatrist or neurologist to get an idea of what's really going on is, all covered under insurance. That's a Medicare expense for most people. It's when you start to think about what are the next steps, home care, for example. Mm-hmm. Those are things that, unfortunately, some can be paid by insurance and some it's privately paid. It really depends on what your resources are. And what is available in the state of New Hampshire to support these folks. And there's a number of programs in this state that will support people in their homes with memory impairment, whether they, if they don't have a lot of resources.
So where should people look for those resources?
Well, they should call ServiceLink, which is our Aging and Disability Resource Center. Nashua has a office at the Senior Center in Nashua. Mm-hmm. And for folks who have more limited means, they would be able to call them and say, this is my situation. Or the family member could call and say, gee, I'm concerned about my mom. I just saw her. There isn't a lot of food in the fridge. Doesn't look like she showered in a while. She's lost a lot of weight. They would be able to help the family navigate all of the different programs that are available to people like her.
So would the Department of Health and Human Services in any given state have a list of these programs for people to go to?
Absolutely, absolutely. In New Hampshire, it's ServiceLink, but there are councils on aging throughout the country. We just call it.
So councils on aging is a good resource?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What other resources are good?
I think locally, to connect with your local senior center, I don't think people give them enough credit. They
Oh, really?
know they're a resource locally for people. It's a familiar face, and they're connected. They're usually well connected.
Absolutely.
The Alzheimer's Association is my tried and true, because you can use the internet. The resources from that website alone, you can find a support group in your local town. These things, they have a 24-hour hotline if you're in the midst of some sort of a challenge with your memory impaired loved one, that you can just pick up the phone and that somebody actually answers and will help you. These kinds of things I think are helpful to people.
Absolutely. But knowing where to find them and, just having a place to start, I think is really helpful. So thank you for sharing that. So how did you girls get into this? What was your favorite book growing up?
Oh my! So I got into this when I was in college, and that was a long time ago. And it was actually a personal experience. I've always been drawn to seniors, and it was an experience with my grandmother when she had to be hospitalized, and just this is a very proud woman, and the experience that she had when she was in the hospital, it was like she wasn't respected for being this really stoic Yankee Vermonter, and it was really bothersome to me. And I thought there's got to be a better way for us to engage with our seniors in our society. I was working on my degree in social work, and I focused totally on geriatrics, and that's what I've stuck with since 1982. So it's been something that's absolutely my calling, and it's what fills me up every day is the opportunity to work with these folks.
And your favorite book?
Oh my gosh. How old, what age?
Any age. What book comes to mind first?
Well, The Executioner Song by Norman Mailer.
Really?
Yeah. Strange,
Wow.
huh? Yeah, so that's why I didn't really want to answer that question. I'm afraid of what that says about me.
No, it doesn't say anything. So what did you like about it?
I think, it's so detailed. It was the journey, of that whole prison recidivism thing. For some reason, I was drawn to it. So I don't know what else to say about that.
You never know.
Well, you asked.
It's not going to be that kind of a leap.
Okay.
Favorite book as a kid would definitely, one of them would have been Where the Sidewalk Ends. That's a book I still read. That's a book I enjoy with my own children. That's a book I enjoy with memory impaired people. Why? Because it was fun to read. The rhymes. None of them made sense. They were so quirky. Good stuff.
So
Meanwhile, I fell into memory care. I don't have a personal experience. I just met a memory impaired person in 1995 and fell for them.
And fell for them?
Fell for them. Fell for them. I couldn't believe that there was such a special group of people that I never knew about. And that is how it happened for me. And I, like Amanda, am fed by those people. I have to be actually fed by those people on a regular basis to sustain and to have something to continually offer others. So.
Well, that's good. At least the sadness doesn't overwhelm the job of everything that's going on.
Oh, it's definitely
Sadness is there.
Yeah.
We cry. But we host support groups because families hurt, and employees hurt, and team players hurt. But we have to find joy.
How do you guys avoid stress? How do you find joy when there's all this sadness going on? Because, families, if that happened to somebody in my family, I would be, distraught. Like, are you going to forget me? When are you going to forget me?
Yeah, I don't focus on that at all. I just focus on joy in the moment.
I think that's the main worry. Are we going to be able to discuss the same things that we've discussed all these years?
Probably
Our
not.
conversations are likely going to change, but they can still be of substance and joy. And memory impaired people want to be happy. They do not want to sit around and be miserable or disappointed or sad. They enjoy joy. They enjoy to laugh, and we are good at that.
Yep.
Oh,
And
that's good.
it's important for us, and that helps me in those stressful times because I don't work stress-free. I just know how to manage, and I know what's good for me, and I know how to take care of myself. So that helps me, and it gives me something to bring to the equation for them.
Absolutely.
You have to have a sense of humor in this business. If you're too serious, you're just not going to make it. And you just have to be able to look at certain situations, you know, in the moment and realize sometimes how absurd it could be. But that if, as long as everyone's having fun, and, you know, this morning I was singing show tunes at breakfast, and I made them listen to me. And they were laughing with me because I'm laughing at myself. But, you know, my staff, my expectation is they bring joy through the door every day. They have to. It's not about them. It's about our residents. And
Right.
they're having to live with a miserable disease. And it's our job to bring them some fun and a lighthearted moment. So that's what we do.
That's great. So in closing, what would be your best tip for families that are starting to experience this?
Some education. You know, realize that there is support in the community, and reach out, and don't be afraid because you're not the only one in it. And they will find out very quickly that they're not alone. We want to be sure that they know that.
That's good.
I think a lot of people wait too long to reach out. I think there's a lot of shame connected to having a family member with Alzheimer's. So I would say that if you live in this community, you need to know, and you have a memory impaired loved one in your family anywhere, that you need to know Amanda, because Amanda will help you locally understand what's available and get you connected to who can best serve you.
Well, that sounds great. Well, thank you for so much information. I really appreciate your being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. And until next time, keep asking questions. The answers are out there. See you soon.